Goat Boy finally gets his rework, and it's a bit of a mixed bag as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to break down the pros and cons as well as show two builds that are polar opposites of each other, showing off Oberon's versatility. Months ago, I posted an Oberon video showcasing how to take Oberon's somewhat lackluster kit and max him out to be the ultimate Paladin tank. Link in the description if you want to check out the original video. This time I'm going to be tweaking that build as well as showing a completely new one and giving my review of the rework as an Oberon main. First up, let's talk about the rework and changes before going into the builds. Let's address the elephant in the room, the goddamn passive. It's really good, and it makes you and your team near impossible to kill, but it also makes renewal almost redundant. So his passive basically gives you charges of Mesmer Skin up to a max of 3 charges for picking up health orbs, and this applies to your whole team. There are various ways to generate health orbs in the game, and health orb generation is even baked into Oberon's kit with Reckoning. What this means is that you are practically immortal as long as you are constantly collecting health orbs. So why would you need armor increases or healing from renewal? Well, for the most part, you don't. I find Oberon's passive to be anti-synergistic overall with Oberon's abilities, specifically Renewal. However, there are times when his passive is not so useful, such as when enemy spawns are low, or during defense objectives where you don't necessarily want to move across the map, collecting health orbs from dead enemies. There is still an argument for Renewal over the new passive, and that argument is that it's more reliable and on demand. Oberon's passive is probably my main gripe with his rework. I just wish it worked alongside Renewal better, instead of making Renewal almost useless, and you'll see that I actually subsume over Renewal later in one of the builds. Moving on, Smite strips defenses now, including Overguard, which is really good. Goodbye Eximus units. On top of that, the damage is very nice, especially when combined with other things. More on that later. Hallowed Ground is an AoE cast instead of directional. Very nice. Renewal seems to give you more armor than before, and I really like the double healing effect when standing on Hallowed Ground. On top of this, it doubles the armor bonus on allies, which is fantastic if you are playing alongside health tanks. Not so useful if you're playing alongside shield tanks, shield gators, or overguard frames. Now, Reckoning is in a much better place than before and allows you to easily generate health orbs for your passive, as well as providing an armor bonus, which again is completely redundant thanks to that passive. Reckoning also now provides a much better armor strip. However, I still somewhat dislike this ability. It's expensive to cast, slow to cast, the range is just okay, and it now has a line of sight check, meaning you will have to semi-spam it to affect enemies consistently. Overall, the rework has put Oberon in a better place, but it's not a very coherent rework, with the passive not quite lining up with the rest of his kit, specifically Renewal. But overall, a very solid rework, and his passive is pretty OP. Now onto the builds. The first build does not really deviate much from my original Oberon video, and is still my preferred way to play Oberon. However, the rework just makes this build even better, and I've changed a mod or two. So this is a super maxed out tank Oberon. I like my frames to take a hit, and oh boy. I like my frame to take a hit, and oh boy, can this Oberon take a hit, all the while providing support for the whole team. This build has a ton of armor thanks to a full set of Tower Forged Blue Archon shards. This gives Oberon a whopping 1575 armor straight off the bat. Then factor in health conversion for another 1350 armor, and Renewal's armor buff, which at max on this build gives roughly 3000 armor. But wait, there's more, because I'm also using Quick Thinking that reduces and converts lethal damage to our energy pool, of which, thanks to Arcane Battery and Prime Flow, has a maximum capacity of 1775 energy, of which is being constantly topped up by Hunter Adrenaline or Equilibrium depending on your personal preference. But wait, there's more, because you can add mods like Adaptation and Shock Absorbers for even more damage reduction. And I'm still not finished, because you and your team get a free death every 60 seconds, as long as they are affected by Renewal, thanks to the Phoenix Renewal Augment. This mod used to have a 90-second cooldown, but will now pop off every 60 seconds. A very nice buff. I've subsumed in either Nourish or Eclipse. Nourish is just a great ability to have, especially when paired with Hunter Adrenaline, as Nourish supercharges that ability for massive energy gains, and Eclipse makes you stupid tanky. I mean, just look at this. Disgusting. Disgusting survivability, and that's all before the passive. So this build is very tanky, and I even have some pre-rework footage of this build facing off against level 1500 enemies, so I can only imagine it's even better now after the rework. So not much has changed on this build since my last Oberon video, other than it's just better now. Moving over to my other Oberon, this setup will make you and your team practically immortal while dishing out serious amounts of damage with your abilities. I never liked using Oberon as a caster frame, but oh my, is he quite the goat wizard now. The second build uses 2 Talforge yellows for casting speed and 3 Talforge orange shards for ability damage on enemies affected by radiation. I have subsumed over renewal with Breach Surge. Breach Surge will be giving us a ton of damage potential in combination with Oberon's smite ability. This is what the mod setup looks like, and there is some wiggle room for your personal preference. You don't need to go with Streamline, for example. I just like it as Oberon's abilities can be very expensive to spam. Hallowed Reckoning is mostly there for the range buff, but it does provide some damage in combination with Breach Surge, but you can swap this out for something else if you so wish. Energy Conversion is a very good pick. Malt Augment is optional, but I like the additional power strength. Arcane Universal Fallout is self-explanatory. It's how I'm keeping not only my energy up, but my passive up constantly, especially in combination with Reckoning's Health Orb generation. Everything else is fairly self-explanatory on the build. Equilibrium is a no-brainer with how much health and universal orbs you will be generating. This is how it works. You cast Breach Surge, follow it up with Reckoning to armor strip, then spam Smite and watch everything die. You can put a Hollowed Ground in there whenever too. It's a nasty combination, and it gets even better when you prime them with Viral First. I have been running the new bounties with this setup and constantly hitting top damage dealer in the group while keeping everyone alive easily. Does this make Oberon a top tier damage dealing frame? No, not really, but it's certainly a viable and fun option. Overall, I am very happy with Oberon's rework. I just wish his passive worked a little bit better alongside Renewal. Maybe if it gave a stacking damage reduction instead, but never mind. The passive is kind of broken good with caster Oberon. Now I'm going to leave you with some Oberon gameplay. Thank you for watching, fellow Tenno, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.